Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it. From humble beginnings to learning from your failures to becoming a great success. What is your success story? Chip Baker, The Success Chronicles. What's your definition of success? Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker coming to you with another episode of the Success Chronicles. And today we have Keda Sharber with us, an amazing lady that's doing some really neat stuff, storyteller by her work, photographer, cinematographer, filmmaker, just doing some big things to make a positive difference. And I'm so thankful to have her on this episode of the Success Chronicles. So first off, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
All right. Well, let's dive into it. Talk to us about your life story.
Well, I would say, it seems like a really easy question when people say, well, where are you from? Well, my answer is always my mama, because I don't really have a solid place to call like home. You know what I mean? Like, we moved around a lot. So I can only blame my mama, right? So I was born in Connecticut, but we moved around. So I lived in Connecticut, Rhode Island. I lived in a little town called Coffeyville, Kansas. I've lived in Kansas City. I've lived in Milwaukee. I've lived in Evanston, Illinois, Chicago. So I'm a Midwest girl, but I was born on the East Coast. But my parents are from the Caribbean. Both of them are from there. So that's where my roots are. But I call myself a nomad. So yeah, through that, I went to college. I started college at Mizzou, and that's where I met that's University of Missouri Columbia. That's where I met my now husband. So we've been riding together since '99. Now we got 4 kiddos. So that's my little tribe, as I call them. So yeah, in 2006 we moved to Houston, and that's where we call home now. So we're just living life down here, trying to be the best humans we can be.
That's it. I love it. Well, what are 3 things you've accomplished in your life that you're proud of?
I would say the first thing is keeping this marriage together, because they don't tell you that a marriage is work. I'm telling you, that's the hardest job I've ever had in my life. I have, pushed 4 babies out, and I've earned 2 degrees, and I will still tell you, this marriage is the hardest thing I've ever done. It's very rewarding, and I love what we're building together. But it's a lot of work. Putting aside, self sometimes, and actually getting to know a person, not the person that you want them to be, but the person who they are and the person that they're evolving into, because we're not the same people we were a year ago or 5 years ago. We're evolving. So it's like you're trying to build a relationship on a moving platform, so it's like, the things that I could have done 5 years ago might not work to keep this thing together now, because we both have changed, we've both grown. So this is some work that I'm proud of. So that's one. Another thing I would say is raising these children.
That's no D in there, right?
No, it's 2 R's and no D. Children.
I know that one.
You know all about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I know that. That's like me. I was raised by church folk. No S.
Same.
So yeah,
Same.
I feel you on that one.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's the same thing like with a marriage. You know, you have children, and what works with one is not going to work with the other one. They're, you know,
Yeah.
their own little people, and you know, no matter what dreams or designs you may have on their lives, that might not necessarily be who they're going to end up being. And so you have to. It's difficult, kind of coming to terms with them blossoming into their own person, and kind of letting the things that you wish for them go as they figure out what they want to do on their own. So I find myself a lot of the times trying to put myself back in that place. You know, my daughter's 16, and so you know when she's dealing with whatever she's dealing with, a lot of the times I'll reflect back on, okay, well, when I was 16, what was I doing? And
Mhm.
I find that it makes it a little bit easier for me to relate instead of me, you know, constantly coming from a mama point of view, you know, stopping and thinking, okay, look through 16-year-old eyes and see what the issue is or what the situation is. And then that'll help to relate a little bit more. So, you know, building a positive relationship with my kids and kind of helping them to become who they're supposed to become. That's another thing that I'm proud of. Um, and then lastly is just finding my own voice. So, you know, it's easy to get lost in our roles that we play for other people, um, but not losing yourself in the process, you know, still being able to be somebody or something for someone else, but still knowing who you are for yourself. That's is very important to me. And so that's where my career came from. That really came out of me um, needing to find my own voice. And people ask, you know, well, how did you get started? And it really started from a place of pain for me. So
Mm.
I was in a rough situation. Me and my husband were just not seeing eye to eye. The whole thing was crumbling, and I felt like I had no words. So I call myself a storyteller, but at this point, I had no words. There was nothing that I could say to change the situation. There's nothing that I could say to fix it. I had no words. You know, I couldn't express myself
Mm.
verbally, and so I embarked on this. It was supposed to be 365 days. I didn't make it, but that's all right. It was supposed to be a year-long self-portrait project where you take a picture of yourself every day for a year. And the theme of the photos was always what I was dealing with. It was always the turmoil that was going on inside of me. And so that became my mode of expression, whether I was in the worst place ever or whether I was having a great day, whether I was just playing around with my kids or what. That is what I used to kind of heal myself. And from that, you know, people would see the work, and that's another thing, that being transparent. So, you know, a lot of times we go through things on our own and we don't want to share because, you know, it's shameful, or we don't want people to know that we're dealing with this, or you want to keep up that facade that everything's okay. I didn't have time for all that. I didn't have energy for that. Like, look, I'm raw, and it takes too much energy for me to try to mask this for you. So you're going to get all this rawness. So all of the things that I was dealing with and fighting with and struggling with, I just put it out there. So it was out for everybody to see and comment on and whatever. And what I found was there was community in that. There was community in transparency. And so that kind of helped along with the healing process as well. So when people started seeing the things that I was doing, you know, I would dig in these creative spaces to kind of get my emotions out. And they're like, oh, I need you to do something like that for me. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, really? So, you know, there was like, I would take like, you know, just makeup and like, you know, draw little things on my face or whatever. And they're like, I have a concept and I need you to do this for me. And I'm like, okay. So that kind of, it branched off into something that took on a life of its own. And so here I am, I want to say, yeah, it's 10 years later, with the business, you know. And it's so I still get to do what I love to do. I still get to tell stories, not just mine, but other people's. And I get to express, you know, the things that may not necessarily have words to express them.
Man, I love that. I love that. And we talked too off air about the introvert thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it's a double. I don't know. I really felt, how you talked about the introvert, but then also going through pain, but there's no words. And then when you're introvert, you already don't talk to people about your pain.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now you're looking within to win. Like you have to really look within yourself to get yourself through what you're going through.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I really love how you explained the process of your healing through
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that was all I had. I ain't had nothing else. I was like, okay, let me open this toolbox.
Well,
What we got to get through this? Oh,
mhm,
it's only one thing in here, so we got to make it work.
that's it. That's it. And it's
Yeah.
crazy how it brings out a beautiful thing, kind of like the caterpillar with the butterfly.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's actually where my the name of my business kind of stems from.
Hmm.
So my business is Images by Papillon, and Papillon is a French word for butterfly. And I've always been obsessed with butterflies since I was in high school. My daughter, her name is, like a genus of butterflies. Her name is Nisea, and it's this beautiful black butterfly with like turquoise splashes on the wings. So I've always had felt this connection with butterflies, and I think it's just their ability to transform into
Mm.
something unexpected, into something that's breathtaking, and that can stop people in their tracks. And it's their way of doing it on their own. You're this little creature, and then you're like, okay, I gotta go tuck myself away so I can turn into the thing that I'm meant to be. And so I kind of feel that and internalize that whole process.
Man, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
Let's hit on success. What is your definition of success?
So success for me, I think I define it less in terms of finances. I feel like, a lot of the people that I talk to, success is always linked to money some kind of way.
Hmm.
And yes, that's an important piece of it. But for me, it's more about having the freedom and the the freedom and the opportunity to do the things you love to do with the people who you love. So, um, I could be out there working a 9 to 5, grinding for somebody else, um, and have, all the money in the world. But if I'm missing those moments with my family, if I'm missing those moments with my children, I would not feel successful at all. I would feel like I was failing because I'm missing the piece that means the most to me. Um, so I've done the 9 to 5 thing, and it didn't. It felt like my soul was being crushed every day. Having to ask permission to go to my kids' performance or award ceremony, or and being turned down. Like it's almost like a how dare you tell me that no, I can't be there for my kid. You know what I mean? It was like a painful thing that I had to come to terms with. Like, okay, I'm, I'm grown and I'm trying to build this life for myself. But this lady done told me
No,
that I
I
can't be,
can't go. No,
the mom that I'm trying to be when that's the most important thing in my life. Like, that just didn't sit well with me. Now, I'm not
it's not
saying
a
that,
good plan
yo,
at all.
at all. Like that don't work for me. Like it works for other people and it works for my husband. Like he, praise God for a good paying job, amen.
Yeah.
But but for me, it doesn't jive with my makeup. You know what I mean? Like
That is
I
not in your DNA,
no, not at all. Like I'm not going to say that if things happened and the business wasn't doing what it needed to do, that I wouldn't go work because,
Right.
part of me being the mother that I need to be is me being able to provide what I need to provide for my
Yeah.
family. But, you know, if there's an option and I can be in the place where I can set my own schedule and determine when I can be where I need to be, then that's what I'm going to do. So,
Without a doubt.
Yeah. So that's success for me, being able to be with the people that I love, doing the things that mean the most to us. That's success for me.
Well, that's good stuff. Well, before we get off, if you don't mind sharing with the audience where they can go follow you and check you out and support you and show you some love.
Sure. I appreciate that opportunity. I am Keda, and I'm with Images by Papillon. That's Papillon. And you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me. I'm also on YouTube. And I'm starting, my little vlog series. And I plan on kind of putting some melanin in the YouTube space. You know what I mean? We're a little few and far between when it comes to, brown content creators and things like that. So I figure instead of fussing about it, let's go do something about it. So
There you go.
yeah.
Well, again, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to interview with the Success Chronicles. I wish you continued success in everything you have going on.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.
All right. Well, thank you. And thank you guys for checking out this episode. We'll see you next time. God bless.
Go get it.